She didn't call a press conference. She didn't release a carefully worded statement through a publicist. She didn't wait for a magazine interview or a podcast sit-down to tell her side of the story. Megan Thee Stallion did what Megan Thee Stallion has always done. She went straight to the people, said exactly what she meant, and let the world figure out what to do with it. On April 25, 2026, one of the most talked about celebrity relationships of the past year came to an abrupt and very public end. And the way it ended, the Instagram post, the official statement, the specific words she chose, tells you everything you need to know about where Megan is right now, what she's been through, and exactly how much she is and isn't willing to tolerate. This is the full story. To understand why this breakup became an immediate cultural moment, you have to understand who Megan Thee Stallion is and what she represents to the people who follow her. Born Megan Javon Ruth Pete in San Antonio, Texas, and raised in Houston, she built herself into one of the most dominant forces in hip-hop through a combination of raw talent, relentless work ethic, and a personality so distinctive and magnetic that it was impossible to ignore. She graduated from Texas Southern University with a degree in health administration while simultaneously building a music career, a detail that often gets lost in the celebrity narrative, but says a great deal about who she fundamentally is. Her music became a cultural phenomenon. The hot girl movement she launched wasn't just a marketing concept, it was a genuine philosophy about confidence, self-possession, and the right of women to take up space unapologetically. Songs like Savage, Body, and Hiss didn't just chart. They became anthems. They became memes. They became part of the cultural language in a way that very few artists achieve. But Megan's public life has also been marked by extraordinary difficulty. She has faced legal battles, public attacks on her credibility, and the kind of scrutiny that few public figures have to endure with as much grace and consistency as she has shown. Through all of it, she has maintained a presence that her fanbase, the hotties, has shown up for again and again. When something happens in Megan's personal life, it doesn't stay in the celebrity gossip lane. It becomes a conversation about much bigger things. And that's exactly what happened on April 25. Klay Thompson is one of the most decorated players in NBA history. A five-time NBA champion, a four-time All-Star, and one half of the most feared shooting backcourt the league has ever seen during his years, alongside Stephen Curry at Golden State. Thompson's name carries enormous weight in the sports world. By the time he and Megan went public, he had made a significant career transition, leaving the Golden State Warriors after 13 seasons and signing with the Dallas Mavericks for the 2024-25 season. It was a move that came with its own complications, adjusting to a new team, a new city, a new role, and it happened against the backdrop of a relationship that was, by all appearances, becoming something serious. Megan spoke about how Thompson came into her life in a way she hadn't anticipated. In an interview with People in January, she described the relationship as something that snuck up on her. She hadn't been looking for it, hadn't planned for it, and then suddenly found herself in it. She used a word that felt significant coming from someone who has been through as much as she has: comfortable. She said she was comfortable. She said, with a laugh that her fans recognized immediately, "I'm comfy, babe." For someone who has faced what Megan has faced in her public and personal life, comfortable is not a small thing. Comfortable is enormous. Comfortable means trust. Comfortable means safety. Comfortable means you've let someone in far enough that their presence actually changes how you feel about your own life. She let Klay Thompson in, and what happened next is why we're all here. From the moment they went public, Megan and Klay gave their audience plenty to follow. Their red carpet debut came at Megan's own inaugural Pete and Thomas Foundation Gala in New York City on July 16, 2025, a charitable event named after her late mother and grandfather, which means something significant about the intimacy of bringing him there. This wasn't a random public appearance. This was her world, her family's legacy, her most personal professional project. And she brought him. At the event, she called him the nicest person she had ever met in her life. That quote circulated widely because it landed with such genuine warmth that it was hard not to root for them. What followed was a relationship that played out in the public eye in the way that major celebrity couples do, carefully curated glimpses that added up to a picture of something real and good. In February, Thompson gave her a powder blue Bentley for her birthday. They celebrated with a tropical vacation that she documented on Instagram with the kind of caption that makes you smile just reading it: grateful, happy, specific. She wasn't performing contentment. She was sharing it. In late March, she posted a mirror selfie with Thompson standing behind her, his hands at her waist, the two of them captured in the kind of casual, intimate moment that feels more honest than any posed red carpet photo. It was the image of a couple settled into each other. Comfortable. That word again. And then April 25 arrived. There was no warning, no subtweet buildup, no vague sad song posted to her stories the night before. Just a black background, white text, and Megan Thee Stallion saying exactly what had happened. She wrote about cheating. She wrote about being brought around his whole family, being part of something that looked like a real life together. She wrote about holding him down through what she described as horrible mood swings and difficult treatment during his basketball season. And then she got to the line that made everyone stop scrolling, the claim that he had told her he wasn't sure if he could be monogamous. That last part is what shifted the entire conversation. Because there's a difference between someone who cheats and gets caught and someone who, when confronted, responds by questioning whether they're even capable of commitment in the first place. The first is a betrayal. The second is something else, a kind of retroactive reframing of the entire relationship that puts the person who trusted them in the position of having believed in something that was never fully real. She didn't name him in the post. She didn't have to. The relationship had been public for months. The context was unmistakable, and the specificity of what she wrote, the family, the mood swings, the basketball season, the conversation about monogamy, made clear that this wasn't vague frustration. This was a specific account of specific events. The post went everywhere instantly, and within hours it was followed by something more formal. Later the same day, Megan released a statement to people that was different in tone from the Instagram post, but entirely consistent in message. Where the post was raw and immediate, written in the heat of real emotion, the statement was composed and deliberate. She named 3 things as non-negotiable for her in a relationship: trust, fidelity, and respect. She said that when those values are compromised, there is no real path forward. She said she was taking time to prioritize herself and move forward with peace and clarity. Read those words carefully, because they were chosen carefully. She didn't say she was heartbroken, though she almost certainly is. She didn't say she was angry, though the Instagram post made clear she had every right to be. She framed the end of the relationship not as something that was done to her, but as a decision she made, an active choice rooted in values she had identified and refused to compromise on. That framing matters. It's the difference between presenting yourself as a victim and presenting yourself as someone with standards. Megan has been put in the position of public victim before, against her will and at enormous personal cost. The way she chose to communicate this breakup, the Instagram post first, the statement second, suggests someone who is still processing real pain but is absolutely clear about who she is and what she deserves. The contrast between those two pieces of communication tells a full story. The post was the human reaction. The statement was the person she has built herself into. Both are real. Both are hers. As of the time this video was made, Klay Thompson has not released a public statement in response to Megan's post or her official statement. People reached out to his representatives and did not receive a response. That silence is not necessarily meaningful on its own. Public figures often take time before responding to sensitive personal situations, and it's possible that a response was being prepared or that Thompson chose to handle things privately rather than through the media. What we can say is that the specific allegations Megan made, cheating, the conversation about monogamy, have not been denied publicly. Whether that changes, what Thompson's account of events looks like, or how this situation develops further remains to be seen. What's worth noting is that Thompson is in the middle of an NBA season with the Dallas Mavericks. He is a public figure with his own fanbase and his own professional obligations. The timing of this, a very public accusation during the height of basketball season, adds another layer of complexity to an already complicated situation. The full picture of what happened between these two people is known only to them. What Megan chose to share is her experience, her truth, and her decision. What Thompson's perspective looks like is a chapter that hasn't been written yet, at least not publicly. If this video is giving you the full picture on what actually went down between Megan and Klay, hit the like button right now. It helps this channel reach more people and keeps content like this coming. Now let's get into the part everyone's been talking about. Megan Thee Stallion has now been through several high-profile relationships that ended badly or publicly, and the internet, being the internet, has not let that go unnoticed. Before Thompson, she was linked to Torrey Craig of the Chicago Bulls after the two appeared together on TikTok in August 2024. Before that, there were reports of a connection with Belgian soccer star Romelu Lukaku in 2023. And before that, her most significant public relationship was with rapper Pardison Fontaine, known as Party, in 2021, a relationship that also ended amid public claims of betrayal. The pattern being discussed online is not about Megan making bad choices. It's about something more structural, the specific challenges that come with being a famous, successful, outspoken black woman navigating romantic relationships in the public eye, where every relationship is scrutinized and every ending becomes a referendum on her choices rather than an examination of the behavior of the people she trusted. There's a tendency in celebrity culture to look at a string of painful relationship outcomes and ask what the common denominator is, as if the person who keeps getting hurt is the problem rather than the people who keep causing the hurt. Megan's fans have been pushing back against that framing loudly, and not without reason. She has been consistent about what she values. She has been open about what she needs, and she has walked away clearly and decisively every time those needs were not met. That is not a pattern of failure. That is a pattern of self-respect. The reaction online was immediate, loud, and largely, though not entirely, on Megan's side. Her fanbase, the hotties, showed up in the comments and on social media with the kind of unified energy that only comes from a community that feels genuinely invested in someone's well-being. The sentiment was consistent. She deserved better, she handled it with class, and the specific details she shared, particularly the monogamy comment, landed as exactly the kind of revelation that makes people feel protective of someone they admire. There were also, inevitably, the contrarian takes, the people who questioned why she posted at all, the people who suggested she should have handled it privately, the people who, as they always do when a famous woman expresses pain publicly, found a way to make her the problem. But those voices were significantly outnumbered by the ones expressing solidarity. And what's interesting about the broader reaction is how quickly it moved from the specifics of this relationship to the bigger conversation, about what public figures owe their audience, about how women are treated when they speak honestly about being wronged, and about the particular experience of being Megan Thee Stallion specifically, a woman who has had her credibility attacked so many times that every new public moment carries the weight of everything that came before it. The internet doesn't always get these moments right. This time, by and large, it did. There is something worth saying here that goes beyond the celebrity gossip, beyond the Instagram posts and the statements and the reactions. Megan Thee Stallion has spent years being one of the most visible black women in American popular culture, and that visibility has come with costs that most people in her position don't have to pay. She has been publicly disbelieved about her own physical injuries. She has been mocked and attacked at her lowest moments. She has been put on trial, literally and figuratively, for the crime of existing loudly and refusing to be diminished. Against that backdrop, the way she handled this breakup, the directness, the clarity, the refusal to minimize what happened to her or dress it up in diplomatic language, is not just a personal choice. It's a statement. It's a continuation of a years-long public argument she has been making about what she deserves, what women deserve, and what it looks like to refuse to accept less. The people who connected most strongly with her post on April 25 weren't just relating to a cheating story. They were relating to the specific experience of having invested deeply in someone, having been present through their hard seasons, having been part of something that felt real, and then finding out that the other person was never fully in it the way you were. That experience doesn't belong only to celebrities. It belongs to everyone. And Megan, by saying it so plainly and so publicly, gave a lot of people language for something they had been carrying quietly. That's what she has always done, actually. That's the through line of her entire career. She takes what's personal and makes it universal, and in doing so she builds a connection with her audience that goes much deeper than music. Megan Thee Stallion is 31 years old. She has a Grammy. She has a degree. She has a foundation, the Pete and Thomas Foundation, named for her late mother and grandfather, that is actively doing work in communities that need it. She has a career that has survived things that would have ended most people's, and she has a fan base that has proven, repeatedly, that they will show up for her. She said in her statement that she is taking time to prioritize herself and move forward with peace and clarity. Those are not empty words. For someone who has been through what she has been through, publicly, visibly, with the entire internet watching, peace and clarity are not small ambitions. They are hard-won goals that require real work and real time. What she will not do, and this much is clear from everything she has ever shown us, is disappear. She will not go quiet. She will not let this define her in the way that other people's choices keep getting projected onto her. She will take whatever time she needs, and then she will come back, and she will be exactly who she has always been, louder, sharper, and more herself than ever. The gambler, as it turns out, is not the only one in this video who knows how to bet on herself. Megan Thee Stallion has been doing it her entire life. What happened on April 25 was a breakup, but it was also, in the way that moments involving Megan Thee Stallion tend to be, something larger than that. It was a woman drawing a line in real time and saying, clearly, publicly, without apology, that she has values and those values are not negotiable. It was a reminder that the people we watch on screens and follow on social media are human beings navigating the same messy, painful realities that the rest of us are. And it was, in its own way, another chapter in one of the most compelling ongoing stories in American popular culture, the story of a woman who refuses, no matter what gets thrown at her, to become anything other than exactly who she is. Trust, fidelity, and respect, non-negotiable. She said it, she meant it, and if the past is any guide, she'll be just fine.